Welcome back. I think this will be our final video for this project for our spring nest, and so I've done a little bit more work on my nest. I made a couple more leaves, and one thing I forgot to mention is if your leaves and your bits are too fluffy, if you don't like that, then what you can do is use some really tiny scissors and trim off those fibers. So just like that, just going along. After you've felted it, after you've made it into a solid little shape, you can just trim it. Trim those fibers off. As opposed to pulling them. When you see a loose fiber, it's tempting to just yank it out, but it could actually pull some detailing off of your project, so just use your scissors. Okay, got the nest. Now we're ready to make some eggs, and I've got some different colored ones in here, and I haven't added blue into these packs yet, but I definitely will. As you can see, I'm into it. And then the little speckles you can do with your chocolate brown merino wool. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, let's make some eggs for our nest. I've moved these ones in. So adorable. I love my little eggy poos. One thing I did do that really inspired me was I went online and I looked up, like an egg chart. There's probably some on Pinterest. I just found Google Images. Oh my God, that's when I flipped out and realized how many different kinds of patterned eggs there were and how much fun I was going to actually have. Okay, so what I've done is I've made this little tiny one here out of white core wool, so you can use that. It's in your kit, and so I'm just going to pull off a little bit. You can also use your brown, like if you have some brown left and you want to make some eggs out of that too, you can cover that in different colors. Okay, so I just pulled off some of this core wool. And depending on the size of your egg, I might make one a little bit bigger than this one. So let's see here. So I'm just going to look in my palm and kind of see. Yeah, it's going to be around there. Maybe a little bit more I'll add. And so now I'm just going to hold it down. I'm going to start to kind of roll the wool in on itself. And, eggs are not round, right? We know what eggs look like. They're kind of fatter on one end and a little bit less on the other end. And I would say that eggs are definitely in their own category of universal shape. So I'm just poking as I roll my egg around on the foam so that I get all the sides, and I get the bottom and then the top. And just anywhere, I just keep rolling it around and shaping it with my fingers. So this will be the top of mine. I'm just going to tease out a little thing there. This will be the top. So I'm going to start felting down the sides of it to shape it. Really fun. And just anywhere where there's a little extra lump or bump, I'll just smooth it over with my needle as I'm felting. Let's get in there. I might want to pinch it in. Let's see which is my top. I think this was my top. I'm going to pinch with my fingers just a little bit to make it thinner at the top. Well, maybe that was my bottom. I don't know. Anyway, if I round out the end, then now I've got an egg. There we go. And I might just hit the top a few times because they're not really pointy on the top. They're just round it over. And just keep going around with my needle to smooth it out. There we go. Just do a few more coats. There. Another little egg. Let's go with this one. This one's been felted more, you can tell. Can you see the difference? I think I'll go over this one a bit more. I like my eggs to be kind of tightly felted compared to, you know, some of the other projects that I like to make. I like my eggs tight. So this is just such a fun, awesome little project for Easter time, if you celebrate Easter, and spring. And it's a change up from, you know, dyeing actual eggshells, which is fun too. Alright, that's better. I like that. Now I'm happy with it. Okay. So now in your packs, in your kit, you'll find some of this white merino. So I'm just going to pull off a tiny bit, really small amount, and lay that onto my egg and start felting it on really lightly. Again, if you're using a burgundy needle, you don't want to push your wool on, you don't want to felt it on too hard, just lightly. And I just roll the egg around like that as I'm felting on this second layer. And it just makes the egg look a little bit softer. So now it's getting fuzzy on the top here, so I'm going to go around the top and keep felting on that layer of merino. Rolling the egg around my fingers and felting down. Okay. Let's put some speckles on this egg. Actually, before we do that, I was talking about using scissors, so I actually want to trim, just because when you make these speckles, sometimes it's such a small, tiny amount of wool, it's so fine, that if the egg isn't trimmed first, it can actually interfere with your ability to speckle it. So I'm holding up my egg to the light and I'm just trimming off these fuzzy fibers. There. That's a little bit better. Just give it a little bit more of a felt. Okay. So now we'll take a little bit of chocolate brown and literally like one hair practically. Like, I know you can barely see that. It's such a tiny amount. It's like 2 or 3 fibers, and I just kind of bundle it under my thumb and forefinger and I roll it until it becomes a little dot. And it doesn't have to be a ball. You don't have to roll it up until it's completely in a ball, because they're more like freckles, the speckles. So now I'm just going to touch it once or twice with my needle. You know, if you're not using a finer needle, you're still using your burgundy needle. It's you know, if I were to push that in, it would disappear inside the core wool. So that's why we're just going super, super light. So here I'm going again. And your speckles can be different sizes. They can be concentrated on one part of your egg if you want. They can be big or small. Yeah, so that's how we do it. How we make our speckled eggs. And so once you've got that all speckled up the way and you're happy with it, then you can go again with your scissors. So this is another reason why you don't have to felt down every single little fiber that's loose. You can leave them and then at the end go along and trim. So as long as they're not way out from the project and you're trimming them right off the egg, you can just have your scissors a little bit up from the surface and just give it a little haircut when you're finished, and then you'll have a little bit of a speckled egg. So I think I'm going to add some more speckles to this one, and yeah, we'll be back. So here's my finished nest. I had so much fun felting with you, and I've added some little speckles to my eggs, built up my nest with some leaves and some needles. I'm so excited to see what you made, and maybe you can share a photo with me on Facebook. You can find me over at Medicine Friends on Facebook. That's the name of my page. You can also find me on my website, medicinehoop.org. And yeah, I look forward to doing more of these projects. I've got more Easter, spring themed projects coming up. So thank you so much. I'm Jen Cookson, and I'll see you next time.